And welcome to all of you listening into the FAU Football Fancast. Today is November 20th, 2014, and you're watching here from the YouTube. If you find us, we're at FAU Wise Guys on YouTube, and we're doing basically the fastest Fancast we're going to be doing because we're in between halftime of the Oakland Raider Kansas City Chiefs game as we're doing this tonight, which Andy's watching. Andy, of course, my brother. You can know him on Twitter at FAU Wise Guys. I'm on Twitter at King of Podcasts. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Watching the games.
Yeah, I hadn't I caught someone on the radio in the car. So hey, if the Raiders get a chance to go ahead and pull out a victory,
Got to play in the monsoon to get a victory, I guess, right? Well,
I guess so.
it's coming down like crazy over there.
Yeah, kind of almost like how we did with the FIU game that we had a few months back. I don't like to reminisce, but you know what? FIU played the team that we're playing this weekend, Middle Tennessee, this coming Saturday, and they did well against them.
They did. When we get to talking about them, we're gonna talk about some of the problems that we're looking at.
So we'll bring that up a little bit later on, but what we're going to talk about when it comes to last week of college football was Saturday night. How many people were watching and just felt like that old Orange Bowl spirit was coming alive again as University of Miami gave a scare to Florida State in that number one and that top ranking. And Jameis Winston, he was put on notice, man.
Yeah, but I still think that they didn't. They don't really have that. They don't really have that spark at Dolphin Stadium like they did over at the Orange Bowl. I don't know what's going on over there, but yeah, they played a good game. They just let it slip away. That was a victory for them. They should have had that.
And when it comes down to it, you see the crowd, like you said, a couple orange seats in the back, and in the Orange Bowl there was, like you said, used to be a magic. But
there was something. There was a little pulse to the place, but Dolphin Stadium, even the Dolphins, the sense they'd be playing there, not much to it. Another short comeback this weekend was Mississippi State. They fell way behind. Had a good-looking comeback for a while there, but they fell short too. But Alabama, writing their ticket. They can make it to now they're in the playoffs, ready to go. They're on top. So.
I mean, I don't know what it has, but that Prescott, Zach Prescott hit a couple of picks, and they were just things just that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Yeah, I think being in the limelight, they're just not used to it. Mississippi State is not the type of team that, has been in the top 10. So, when you get in the limelight, it's harder to perform than people think.
So, like you said, Alabama, and then as Alabama is the result number one in the polls in the college football playoff. So they get awarded, and
to me that's weird. I mean, to leapfrog a Florida State team that went into a very dangerous place. Playing U of M in Miami it's just a trap game's dangerous. So of course they're gonna have a difficult time down there. But I mean, to have an undefeated team get jumped by a team that was, I'm not buying it.
Now Marshall, in the mix, okay, undefeated still, and who else is undefeated? That's in the top 25 and not being looked at.
Yeah, Florida State. That's it. Florida State and Marshall. That's it. So I'm surprised that Marshall hasn't gone up more, but I mean their schedule is holding them back. But I think they have a legitimate shot to get into a really good bowl game, and if they can get a couple of teams to get a second loss, I mean there's no way you could put a 2-loss team in front of an undefeated team. And I mean I understand with the discrepancy of schedules, but come on, man, undefeated versus 2-loss is a big difference.
But then again, it's more of an impact with Florida State being undefeated, and you got an SEC team at number one with the loss.
They always want the power conferences to come out on top, so that's the way it's built.
But it's the SEC, man. Big Ten don't get looked at too much. And by the way, speaking of SEC, how about that team in Florida? Always they're supposed to be that Big Three. Well, it doesn't feel so much Big Three anymore with Florida. Will Muschamp, bye.
Yeah, I mean, people in Florida, they want to win, and going 500 is not winning for them. So,
you go by the route of Ron Zook. Will Muschamp. Sorry, but you got to go.
Sorry, but you got to go. Got to win in Florida, man. Got to win.
Exactly.
Hey, that's a good thing to have at your school. You want your athletic program to want the best.
So let's get into the team notes itself. When it breaks down, I'm going to let you start off with this.
Well, all right. Well, fans that I talk to, stuff that I've read in a lot of places, there's already, they're coming out the woodwork now. The critics, that don't have patience. People talk about that. Oh, we have patience at the beginning of the year, and then all of a sudden, a few losses down the road, the wheels are starting to wobble off the wagon. Of course they are. This is a first-year coach, with a bunch of young guys that he's trying to put in there. They're not all his guys. I think that people are just putting blame on a lot. I mean, I hear people talking about that Jockers Johnson isn't performing up to par. Are you kidding me? The guy has 1,800 yards. He's ran for almost 400. He's got 3 picks all year long. He has a 131 rating. What do you want from the guy? I mean, maybe there are other culprits, out there. I don't want to name any names, but there might be some guys that played well last year that aren't playing well this year. And it's bound to happen. Sometimes when things change, people just fall out of favor. This is just not the kind of system that works for them, or
right.
Or maybe they just weren't that talented. Maybe we were putting too much pressure on some of these kids that we thought were better than what they were. Sometimes they just maxed out what they were, and teams plan for them a little bit, and then they're out of the game plan.
But most importantly, we've talked about it week after week. It's the defense that's young and experienced for the most part. We lost a lot of seniors. We've mentioned that.
I know we lost a lot of seniors, but we're not inexperienced. I just think that we're inexperienced in winning ball games, and I think when things fall apart, this team still doesn't know how to, circle the wagons, as Chris Berman likes to say, and really fight back. I think they've done it a few times this year, but you can only do it so many times.
Right, but the offense is effective. They're scoring points every week.
I got you, man, but it's got to be your defense, offense, special teams. Everything's got to work together. Just like when we had that Tulsa game, when we got on top and we just put the floor, we put the pedal to the floor and we took off and we blew them out. Okay, we haven't been doing that. We've left people in ball games. We've actually let people get ahead of us in ball games. We had to come fighting back. You can't do that. You can't be the cardiac kids every week. You have to.
And then on top of that, what about every time we have to go on 4th down? How many times are we really doing it? Because not only do we need to keep scoring points, but our trust on the defense. There might be a little loss of that.
Well, and the thing is, one of the other things is that we play well at home. Even though the defense gives up plenty of points at home, but we don't know how to play on the road at all. So
no.
Until we can figure that out, you can forget about bowl or bowl eligibility. You can forget about a winning record. You can forget about all that stuff. But winning on the road is what's going to kill us this year. And to be honest with you, it doesn't look like a very good outcome this week.
Still, things to play for, and it's not even good things to play for because, of course, the last loss really kind of took the wind out of everything that we were looking to go and play for, winning record, conference, all of that.
Yeah.
Middle Tennessee is in that spot right now. We could take that away from them.
Well, we could play the spoiler, but I mean that the motivation should be there before you even be the spoiler or get the 500 record. There should be a motivation to win every week. I just think that this team just needs to learn how to win again, and we're doing that with a coach that's learning how to coach. To be a head coach for the first time ever, so it's going to take it's going to take time. But we have fans that don't have patience, just like every other team has fans that don't have patience, and that's fine. I'm all for that, but don't start calling for people's heads and I think that's just ridiculous. I really do. I think there are people that haven't been playing that well this year, but what did you expect our team to do? They wanted Charlie Parsons to come in here and go 8-4, and get a bowl eligible team. I mean.
Hey, some games could have turned out where the record could have been different, but it still comes down to some games didn't go our way. Defense has struggled. We've put up points, but we haven't been able to kind of keep the points away from the scoreboard from the other team. It's just and we haven't went on the road.
Listen, I'm with you. I think some games go our way that were close. And we could be bowl eligible. You're probably right, but that's not the way the college football works. You got to win ball games, and when you come up at the end and you lay an egg, tough luck, kiddo.
Another team like Middle Tennessee State, which look, a lot of Conference USA teams got some good running game, and they know how to score. I mean, we've dealt with this many times, and with this team every year, we've dealt with this issue. You know,
so they got a couple of running backs that are running well. They score 30 points a game. This is bad for us. They got a good running game with a couple of backs, so they're going to have fresh running backs in there. Also bad for us. I mean, we are Swiss cheese when it comes up to the run. And that's not something that you just shore up in a week. We've been struggling with it all year long, and if we could find a way to contain their run game, Middle Tennessee State is a quality Conference USA team, and we're going to have a tough time on the road with them, especially with them playing for bowl eligibility. They win this game and they're bowl eligible, so they're definitely going to be motivated.
They could have very well become the same. We had the same result as North Texas last week or 2 weeks ago. Same thing. It could very well happen.
Yeah, I have bad thoughts of runs going right up the gut on us and breaking for like 20 yards, 25 yards. Unfortunately, I see that happening. It is. We've had some losses on defense, but I got to tell you, man, I just don't see. I don't see any difference from what we've had the last 3 games where we've been struggling to keep teams out of the end zone. North Texas, chopped off. So I just see the same thing happening this week. We can come back and we can play Old Dominion good, and we can get out of this season with a 4-8 record. It's not a great record, but it's moving. It's moving the team into a direction where we need to figure out our identity before next year starts.
Who wants to show that they have earned their spot on the roster, or if they got a starting spot? Who wants to make sure that starting spot is pretty much set in stone?
Yeah, I mean,
who wants to finish good at the end of the year?
After a 4-8 season, nobody's roster spot should be very solid. I mean, outside of maybe Jacques Johnson, who'll be back, but not many others. There's going to be some wide open spots. There's going to be a lot of good freshmen coming in next year. I don't want to, dismiss the last couple of games we got, but I got to tell you though, this is going to be a tough ball game. This is not going to be an easy one for us to watch, I don't think.
But
I hope I'm wrong, but
No, but individually, each player play out the rest of this run, look good, do the most out of this, because you know what? Then before you know it, spring practice is here, and you need to make sure that what you accomplished last year, gives you a chance to say, okay, I got some kind of leverage. Whoever's going to be trying to take my spot next year. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, man. It's 7 o'clock.
I know we got to get running, and 7 o'clock this Saturday.
Where's it? It's on. What TV is it on?
I gotta pull back up. I want to say it's still Fox Sports 1. If it's not, it would be Channel 15. Just take our word for it. It's on one of those 2 channels.
Wow.
Anyway,
how prepared are we that we don't even know we're freaking channels on? Wow.
What do you want, man? Hey, you didn't put in the rundown, all right?
Yeah. So, all right.
I take care of that, but But either which way, so I just saw the Raiders games on. They need to put a squeegee on the camera because it's like raining like crazy, and the camera's getting fogged up.
I'm about to pull it up right now, buddy.
Let me tell you, the Raiders have done pretty well for themselves, man. I'm hoping for you guys, man. Pulling to see if when this is all done, we can see something good, man. Oh, by the way, the kicker just got hurt, and you know what? One of my friends say, "Get him out of here."
Get him out of here. All right, man.
Thanks, guys. Well, of course, find us on YouTube. Tell some friends to watch us, okay? We got a couple more weeks up to this show. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Subscribe to the show. Look for us on YouTube. And, of course, remember, hit us up on Twitter. I'm at King of Podcasts. He's at FAU Wise, guys. We'll talk to you next week. Let's go Owls against Middle Tennessee.